All right. Now we're going to talk about our figurative language activity. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right,
Yes.
writing our own first line to our narrative modeling assignment using figurative language. Now, you could use this figurative language assignment anywhere in your draft. Just anywhere. We're talking about creating kind of like a sophisticated analogy here that conveys the idea of a concept that you want to share that enriches your reader's experience of it. So I've written a bunch of material here where and I confess, like, I modeled this so that you guys would kind of, include in your model of Alison Clement's work, sort of a model of this way of, and Alison Clement doesn't use a piece of figurative language in the way that I'm instructing right here, but I hope that it will benefit you, that you'll go, oh, I can really, this will really help me explain, how the feel of chlorine in the pool, and I'm sorry, I am sort of curious about that. Somebody's doing one about lifeguarding. Or maybe I've seen one, but I mean, there's so many different things that I look forward to about your narrative modeling assignments. So anyway, this is actually from my life. I kind of no longer run around collecting cheap vintage typewriters because it's over. My hobby died because of Tom Hanks, and he popularized these typewriters, but I do have quite a few, which I will share sometime if you are curious. So a close model of the first line of "They always call you Miss." So I'm showing you two different ways to model that first line or that topic sentence. There's more to collecting cheap vintage typewriters than most people know. It takes money for one thing. The money's not for the typewriters, but for the gas. Vintage typewriters are hiding anywhere within a 100-mile radius, and a lover of these graceful click-clackers finds themselves driving 2, 3, and sometimes 4 hours each weekend through wicked apocalyptic cities and past bucolic farmland just to find that perfect rummage sale with that forgotten treasure sitting against the back wall of a warehouse or barn. And you can see I got into my thesaurus and I found different ways to sort of refer to common things, but that's not this particular assignment. I'm just pointing out there. And some instructors might go, that's a little bit wordy. They might even call it purple prose. For our purposes, I'm trying to bring your purpleness out. I want to watch you. These are activities where you get to feel confident practicing being really descriptive. So please do. And when you do find that machine, you have to look cool, uninterested, like you didn't even spot it. You've just seen a vintage Corona 5 in perfect condition in its wooden box, and all of your alarm bells are ringing in your head. The 5! But if you get too excited, the price might skyrocket magically. You grab a rake, and you casually ask the person holding the sale, how much for this rake? And that box over there. Sometimes the salesperson will turn to you, distracted by people going through his vintage baseball card collection, and say, $5 for the rake and 10 for the box. Now, I am not that unethical. I thought it would be interesting. I probably have grabbed a rake, though, but never for a 5, which would have been like a $200 or $300 typewriter, which I never did that, and I'm still looking for the 5. All right, first line with the figurative language. Collecting cheap vintage typewriters is like being on a secret government mission where you have to keep your cool, stay within your budget, and trust your instincts. Cool, because you are bound to run into other collectors out there who have as keen an eye as you have. Budget, because you are already spending so much money on gas that it's stupid. And instincts, because you don't know where the few remaining machines are. And more than once you found them right under your nose while you're walking away when one of your rivals swooped in for the score. Going to every yard sale, rummage sale, garage sale, secondhand shop, thrift store, hole in the wall, back alley, you don't even really know what kind of store it is, takes patience. So those are just two approaches. If I were to write this paper, I would definitely write it on, typewriter collecting. The focus of our work today for the next few minutes is going to be on finding that analogy, like collecting cheap writers, like being a secret mission. And I hope that that sounds fun and interesting to you. And you don't have to use it for your main, your main point. I am hesitating. Our lifeguard gave us gave us such an image this morning. I almost want to go with that. Cleaning. Here's an analogy that the lifeguard paper might include. Cleaning after irresponsible bathers at the swimming pool, it can be like. And I'm going to leave that to you. I think it's Lucas. Luke, are you the one doing this one?
Yeah.
Without being super gross, what can cleaning up after some of these rude patrons be like?
I don't even know.
Yeah, I know. So what this assignment gives us is an opportunity to really pause and find a way to add a layer. It's almost, I'm not asking you to add a layer of poetry, but when we add figurative language, we raise the level of our writing to kind of tickle the mind of the reader. So let me just continue so that I can get this over. So our search for clarity, vividness, and detail in our writing can be aided by using figurative language. This sheet will show you how to clarify your ideas by comparing your subject to another item. And by subject, I don't just mean that broad thing. I mean anything. You say like a missing bicycle can feel like, something really terrible. If you happen to really need your bicycle, then that missing bicycle could feel like you've lost your arm, a lost arm, right? So what we're trying to do here is this is where the creativity part in college composition comes in. You're welcome to pause, not just on that main topic, like dealing with my alcoholic relatives or something like that can be like, which it'd be like dealing with our alcoholic relatives can be like walking a tightrope above a pit of alligators. That's the way I feel about it. And by the way, to everybody who's writing about really hard topics, I relate and commiserate. So this sheet will show you how to clarify your ideas by comparing your subject to another item and then following that comparison with a phrase that makes the comparison perfectly clear. Example, the overexcited 3-year-old ran through the crowd like a 4th of July firework, exploding in all directions, dangerous and completely out of control. The following exercise invites you to experiment with shifting the parts of sentences around so that you can get a sense that figurative language is most helpful when it relates as closely as possible to what you're trying to describe. Here's another example. The knife-wielding maniac ran through the crowd like a 4th of July firework, exploding in all directions. Dangerous and completely out of control. So the excited 3-year-old, we have the same situation, but we have the excited 3-year-old in the first position there. He ran through it. I think that an excited 3-year-old can be out of control, but is an excited 3-year-old dangerous? What do you guys think?
I think they definitely can be. Not from like ill intent, but from like lack of social awareness of the things around them. Right?
That's when we're worried. But if we're at like a 4th of July event, and then I'll ask in this case, is that analogy sort of more suited to the knife-wielding maniac who is dangerous and out of control, or the 3-year-old?
I would personally say I like it better for the 3-year-old, and I think you're going the other way. But
well, no. And what's funny is that parents. So what your paragraph would have to do is this Mahogany by any chance?
No, that was Alexandra.
Oh, do you have a 3-year-old too, Alexandra?
I don't. I grew up in a Mormon situation. I've had a lot of children around me.
Well, and maybe so. Thank you for highlighting, both of you, Ryan and Alexandra. There's nuance, so what you guys are highlighting for me, and what I love this actually, is that we have to do some real thinking Is there anybody here who looks at the knife-wielding maniac ran through the crowd like a 4th of July fireworks, spurting in all directions, dangerous completely? Is that inappropriate to a knife-wielding maniac? If the first one, dangerous and out of control, is appropriate to a 3-year-old, is the dangerous and completely out of control not appropriate to a knife-wielding maniac?
I would say I don't think it's like not appropriate. I just think it's like a little too colorful or like loose of a description for a knife wielding maniac, because I feel like a firework is very like a lot, I feel like, and like a knife wielding maniac running through a crowd, I feel like is a lot more self-contained, I guess.
A knife wielding maniac is self-contained.
Like I was gonna agree with her.
Yeah.
I was gonna agree with her in the just like the analogy of like a knife wielding maniac, like a firework exploding in all directions. It just even adults who are acting crazy, it's hard for me to imagine them like, you know, exploding in all directions. Where like with the 3-year-old, like they're all over the place and everybody knows it, right? So it just doesn't seem to hit the same as the other one for me.
I am literally knife wielding maniac. So the only thing that I want to hold here, thank you for fixing my typo if I have one, is knife wielding maniac ran through the crowd. And by the way, when I was writing this assignment years ago, so this assignment, by the way, is many years old. As I was looking for this, and we don't even need to know this, but most of our work really does come from our own biography. And my friend, Dan, who I won't say his last name, my friend Dan, was the recipient of a knife-wielding maniac who ran through a crowd. And this was in the late 80s when the blood supply was contaminated with HIV. And so his life was saved, but he had to contend with HIV afterwards, just inadvertently. And so, you know, maybe, why do I share this? I share this by way, well, I want to see what you guys, so like a what man? This is a man. And by the way, the guy in the crowd, he ended up not killing anyone, but severely wounding 6, including my friend. So who went on to have a beautiful life. But how could we do that? So we're not there yet. Okay, so I want to show our oh my gosh, we have 6 minutes. This is great. So here's our assignment. Each student will follow the model to construct 5 sentences out of the pieces below. Construct 5 original sentences based on the model. Now, do you know what? To be honest, I'm not pointing this right now. I don't have it. The next points that you're going to get are from your final draft of your narrative modeling assignment. So this is kind of just a one-off, so I'll be staying a little bit after our time runs out. Not some of you guys have things to do, but I will, because I want to pursue this a little bit. But before we go with our last few minutes of the class, I'd like to show you, so you can see that the example that we have above about, don't we have Sophia's kiss up here somewhere? We have the overexcited... Here it is. Yeah, task. So you can see the example. I have Sophia's kiss was like a ripe strawberry, juicy, sweet, and left me wanting another. And the idea here is, let's say that you see one of these pieces of the sentence that begins with a capital. It's pretty clear that that's the first part. So we have Sophia's kiss. It's obvious that we have a bunch of was like, were like, is like. So you grab was like, and then for this particular one, we chose like a ripe strawberry, juicy, sweet, and left me wanting another. And what I want to highlight here is the connection between the subject that our writer wants to write about, which is Sophia's kiss, and the suitability, the fact that the analogy that we create enriches our understanding. So Sophia's kiss, like there are well, on a let's say a spectrum of kisses, Sophia's was really great. Apparently, that's what the writer here. So let's just pause for a moment and pick one of the first parts of the sentence. So somebody could pick our first date, his hands. I'm just scrolling. The oil spill in the Gulf. You guys don't remember? It was about 10 years ago. It was super bad. Dating Gwen, which, by the way, dates my assignment. Dating Gwen was like, right? Who wants to do Dating Gwen was like? Or Her Grandmother's Eyes? I'm coming back to look at everybody. Can I look at everybody if I'm sharing my screen? I can't. I can't even see anybody. Okay, there you are, sort of. Who wants to take a crack at, with the acknowledgement that, what would be most perfect? There isn't going to be one that's right, because what I'm saying is that, and as we saw with the conversation about the dangers of a 3-year-old running through the crowd at a 4th of July or a knife-wielding maniac, there's nuance here. So don't be worried about being perfectly correct.
So we have to pull pieces from here, or are we just taking Dating Gwen and then?
Nope, just for now. Yeah, pull. The Dating Gwen is finished. It's in there. So all of these sentences were written out and then cut up and sort of swirled around. So which pieces do you feel like would work? That's all I'm asking. And by the way, Dating Gwen could be bad, or Dating Gwen could be good. So there are definitely two ways. I love. Mahogany's got this look on her face like, what is happening here?
I don't have my glasses on.
Oh, okay.
I'm squinting, and it's my natural state. I promise I don't have resting bitch face.
I wasn't saying that at all. All right, good.
I do.
So does anybody, want to take a crack at one? Do you want me to take a crack at another one? Would it help if I take a crack at one?
Can I share one? I am excited about it. A little bit excited about it.
Please do. Yeah, let us know.
Dating Gwen was never mind. Nope. I'm going to give it a moment. Scratch that.
Okay, we're going to give it a moment. You guys could pick any of the other ones that start with a capital.
I'll do one.
Yay, Alexandra, thank you.
Dating Gwen was like melted chocolate, smooth, velvety, and comforting.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And by the way, Hannah, can you stick around? I didn't get to hear your first paragraph, and I apologize for that. So I just saw Hannah. So can you stick around? Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, great. That's exactly what we're doing. So you guys are going to continue to have access to this document, and I want to be respectful of your time. But I would like it to come back on Friday. And by the way, on Friday morning when we come back, your paper's not already finished. You still have all the hours up until midnight to keep working. So how about this? Just in good faith, no points lost or anything, but on Friday, do you think everybody could come back having typed into the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 area and just included one? And you could even put your name to get some thumbs up credit. You could put your name in a parentheses after your period. Can you, just so that I know, okay, you've worked on it, you got it. Now, the way that I'll really understand if you've understood it is if I see one of these lines kind of snuck into one of your paragraphs of your final draft, which not requirement, but I just hope that somehow this figurative language activity will benefit your draft right now. How's that sounding to everybody?
Wait, I have a question,
yes.
Kind of clarification. You want us to potentially take one of these sentences and tie it into our essay?
No, not one of these sentences. I'd like to see you use the skill that we're working on, which is, so Mahogany, I can't remember, what is yours about?
Mine is about the weight of the world on a single mother's shoulders.
Okay, so here, how about this? And maybe your child's too young, but this is the first one that comes to mind. Trying to tie a 3-year-old's shoe is like putting a collar on a feral cat, right? Or do you dig what I'm saying?
Totally.
Okay, so that's that's the sort of thing. Now, I stole feral cat for putting a shoe on a 3-year-old, but your child is younger than that. So you might use putting a diaper on an 18-month-old, or your child seems very young. How old is your child?
She will be 1 at the end of February.
Okay, so we're talking introducing a new food, or all these different little things that can go in there can be light, right? Do you see what I'm talking about?
Totally.
And by the way, I've forgotten what it's like to have a 1-year-old, so maybe we don't even introduce foods. My wife breastfed our kids until, I kid you not, you don't even need to know this, and I am being recorded, so I hate to say it, but 3, and I could literally go out to the kitchen and grab my 14-year-old's what we called the Bye-Bye Nummies cup, which at 3, we had to have like a whole ceremony to like transition to no more breastfeeding. And we did the same thing with my son, who is now 20 and in college, but he got a Lion flashlight that roared when you squeezed it, opened it out, rah, and then light came out. So anyway, sorry, too much, not about the figurative language. Oh, how about this? Weaning your child off of breastfeeding can be like, right? So I hope that I've been able to get across the value of this, and I'm going back to the document right now to see if any kind member of the class has. All right, my father. Somebody wrote one. You guys are so good. You guys are so good. Thank you. You guys just blow me away. My father's voice was like an angry dog in my back, relentless and unstoppable. Thanks, Ryan. Let's see. My grandmother's eyes were like 2 stones, velvety, smooth, velvety, and comforting. Really nice. MAD. Remind me. I'm sorry. I don't know you as Mad. Who's Mad?
That's me. Those are my initials.
And I don't have a picture of the thing. So who is it? Just say who it is.
I'll write my name. It's Mahogany.
Oh, Mahogany. Thank you. Jennifer has done Dating Gwen was like eating a stale ham sandwich, tedious and painful to sit through. Oh, I'm so sorry, Jennifer, that Gwen turned out to be. No, but so often that is what almost universally classes will come back with. Bad for Dating Gwen. So what this convinces me of is that you guys get it. So how about I'm going to put a section right here at the bottom. Original sentence I might use in my own paper. And I've just done this. And oh, yay. Ryan, you're too good. Thank you. And then I'm going to close the class and let everybody go. Returning to college is a high-stakes juggling act with so many glass balls in the air and little room for error. Really nice, and I'm really glad that you show. Yeah, exactly. So that's, and by the way, you're exploring the difference between metaphor and simile here with the, when you do that. So returning to college is like a high-stakes juggling act with so many balls in the air and little room for error. So absolutely, and feel free, everyone, to play with that structure. I'm going to notice anything that is or is like, any kind of use of figurative language like that. So I stopped the share, and I'm at 10:55. I apologize for keeping anyone. I want to formally say, you are no longer obliged to be in my Zoom, but I am not leaving. I'm going to continue helping as best I can. And so if people need to go somewhere, I understand. Totally. I'd like to field some questions about figurative language in our piece. I'd like to, and I'll ask Hannah if she wants to share privately with me her paragraph, or share it with us here. There's only, now my screen looks just like the Brady Bunch, just 9 people. No. Does your screen look just like the Brady Bunch too? So
thank you for class.
Oh, you're welcome, Logan. Always good to hear from you. I'm looking forward to learning about Eagle Scouting. Hannah, can we entice you to hear your first paragraph there? Thanks.
Learning to deal with an overly stressed father is harder than most people think. Having to know what kind of day he had by how he carries himself before he starts talking, getting ready to get yelled at for forgetting something, and having anxiety attacks when he has to go to work. He didn't have a nice childhood. His older brother and father abused him very badly. After what he went through, I think he doesn't want us to go through what he did. He teaches me how to do everything he is doing, and I couldn't ask for a better dad. I think I might be too hard on him some days because I see other people's fathers text them messages they would always remember. Well, my dad texts me, could you get me a beer / ice water? Can you unlock the front door? Can you bring the garbage out? But my dad teaches me different lessons that other people's fathers wouldn't, like teaching me how to kill a chicken, prepare it, build a fence, drive a tractor, or trim goat's hooves.
This is going to be a very complicated paper, and I hope that you've had a good time writing it. So it sounds like you've, because I heard a version of this before, and this one sounds somewhat, it's more complex. So that's all I'll say. If you heard any kind of introductory paragraph there, that's, like if you want to connect with anybody, I hope that you'll send them a direct message, and like reach out and share. You might get some perspectives. Who else has a question or anything like that?
So I in mine, I listed a bunch of bad things, and then I tried to kind of do what they did in They Always Call You Miss, and end it before my conclusion with like a good thing, right? But I don't know if I'm not sure I transitioned well into the good.
Do you want to read the last two paragraphs? We'll listen to that second to last paragraph, which is your reflection on something a little more uplifting, and then we'll listen to your transition into your conclusion.
Okay, sure. Cool. So this is coming off of a paragraph where I was talking about how one of the challenges specifically is comes from within, like the bad things that I tell myself, right? Mm-hmm. And then this paragraph starts with, I tell myself that one day I'll have a degree, swimming in pools of cash brought to me by cushy tech jobs. I assure myself with this as I put in work that it takes to turn in A-quality assignments. People don't realize how amazing it can feel when it finally clicks and we understand the concept we've been struggling with or the rule we didn't quite get. How great it feels to connect with other people and share ideas that help us both grow and expand our skills. I can't help but smiling thinking about a day in the future when I can look back proudly and see the hard work I did and where it brought me. Being able to tell people, oh yes, I completed a bachelor's degree at OSU. Knowing that I've set the precedent for my daughter that it's never too late to pursue your dreams and take a chance.
That was smooth, man. That was smooth. I don't see any problems.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes me feel better. I was doubting it.
Good. But do make sure to have you taken your draft to the writing center? And
I have. Yeah, I sent it in yesterday, and so I'm just waiting to get some feedback.
Good. And all we have to do is write like a paragraph. I'll send out one more message about this. There should be an addendum paragraph after a thing that says like, oh, I worked with Chessy, whoever you worked with, and they helped me with, whatever it is, right? Cool. Alexandra, do you have a question?
Kind of. I just wanted to I don't have a conclusion paragraph yet, and I'm not super confident in my structure.
So hold on. Let's dang, I'm still recording. I have to say that this paper isn't conclusion heavy. It's introduction heavy. Yeah. I'm admitting Mahogany again. She dipped out, and now I think she's dipping back in. There she is. Didn't you send a message to all of us that you were taken off, Mahogany?
I know, and then I realized that I have more questions.
Oh, good. So I'm answering Alexandra's right now, and Alexandra just mentioned about that conclusion. And to be honest, as I think about the rubric that I use as I score these, we're modeling Allison Clement, and her paper does not have a conclusion that helps us in in any way. So I want to kind of it just doesn't. For the next paper, we have sort of an informative paper. For our next paper, I'll be able to teach more about conclusion, but it's not really part of what we do for this one. I'm jumping up to the guidelines that are due. Final draft narrative modeling assignment. So I'm just going to click open our guidelines and just take a peek at the conclusions of the 2 samples that I did share with everybody, because you've asked me, Alexandra, like, hey, remember what you're expecting. I think what you're asking is what are you expecting in terms of a conclusion? And we've looked at so much, and I doubt very much that I have anything in mind for a conclusion except that it sort of hold together. Let's look at this medical center example and just see what this student does. It's a great question and one that I cannot recall off the top of my head. Good grief! I've got internal annotations on my my student response to modeling narrative assignment. Did you guys notice that? Have you seen these before?
I did, but I thought it was helpful. Like, I really liked it being there.
Thank you. Yeah, no. I am saying, like, oh, look at how industrious I got one day. It's sort of a pain in the bottom to put in comments like this. So let's see if I said anything about the. I didn't. Did I? Oh, it says 2 visit to the expert in writing. So, I'm gonna. This is it. Yes, and there's an example. I was able to get 1 visit with Trisha in a writing center and go over my paper. I asked her over my flow and da-da-da. Okay, good. So I've got that. But you'll notice, oh man. So, oh shoot, that her last paragraph isn't indented for one thing. Duh. Don't know how that happened. Can I edit that? I'm adding an indentation. I cheated for her. Because it looks like, as a conclusion, if we started here, it is disheartening to see even the nicest people undergo a personality change when they enter an urgent care. They sit in the waiting room, huffing, puffing, and even. We have an even. We have 2 evens. Oh, man, I might leave a note about how close together those 2 evens are. It will not benefit everybody else in the class, but I will. But, that's the kind of thing that jumps out at me as sort of something that an editing opportunity when I see 2 words that are exactly the same, positioned too closely together. They sit in the waiting room, huffing, puffing, and even rolling their eyes in disgust. Now, notice we're clearly still in the body of this example paper. If someone rushes in with a broken arm, I thought that broken arm moment was way earlier. It's not. Or complaining of chest pain, knowing that now they're going to have to wait a little. They demand additional lab tests, antibiotics for a virus that will most likely pass in a day or 2, and opioids for a simple sore throat. When they don't get what they want, you don't do what they want. You leave a bruise from a difficult blood draw. Such good listing and examples. I just hope everybody's really enjoyed these, but I'm going to jump down to the conclusion. All patients know is that they are not feeling well. They have waited entirely too long, and they are not, and they want to be the ones seen by the doctor first. If they stopped for even a moment, they would notice the overworked, underappreciated medical assistant that courageously puts every patient before themselves. So that is a very, very short conclusion, but how does it work? This is the question we have to ask ourselves, and that's probably what I would ask of folks, is what she's done is sort of underscored the message, really, and not been too entirely on the nose, like, and so just remember when to go in, be nice. Don't do a conclusion that sums it up in that way. What she says is, if they stopped for even just a moment, they would notice the overworked, underappreciated medical assistant that courageously puts every patient before themselves. So I'm thinking literally about your topic and about how a wrap on that might work. Yours is going to be very fraught. I can understand, so it's not the easiest. I can see how that, but because yours is how to distance oneself from an abusive parent or something. Is that the one, or how is that it?
Yes.
Yeah, there's more to distancing oneself. So again, and I just go back for this conclusion. I'll go back to what you've heard in, 7th grade and 10th grade and 12th grade, which is, introductions are tell them what you're going to tell them, then it's the tell them, and then tell them what you told them. That's what we heard kind of going back before. In the case of yours, we might say, you might find what's that most important thing. The most important thing is to keep yourself safe, or whatever observations your conclusion for this particular paper is really ask yourself the question, who do you want to walk away with what information? And then your conclusion will be the most succinct in delivering that particular message. And in the same way that the emergency room one does. I don't want to keep everybody after for a terribly long time. But I'd also recommend that you open up the tree one and actually the one that I showed everybody during our class, which is the one about that I forgot by Tabitha. Something about being a super mom. You might want to just go check out those conclusions as well. Does that help, Alexandra?
Yes, thank you.
Cool. Mahogany came back to ask a couple questions. And Jennifer, I know you're waiting to speak with me in private, I think. Is that true? All right, good. So we'll just keep rolling. Mahogany, talk, please.
I just kind of wanted to, I wrote up my first paragraph, and I kind of wanted to just hear, hi, Noodle.
I see. Okay.
Input, is that okay? Is that a good time to do that, or should I do that more one-on-one?
Oh, well, everybody just read their first paragraph, so yes, it's a good time. Yeah.
Okay. As a mother of an 11-month-old, I often wonder if she'll have a livable environment over the next 25 years. I often wonder if she'll have clean water to drink, breathable air, healthy soil to grow nourishing food, and a community who sees the value of such things. Balancing these realistic concerns for her future and the day-to-day experience of raising a child while holding the tasks of a modern-day woman is like willingly carrying a boulder along the ridgeline of a mountain, never sure if the next step will give way beneath you. From diapers that are always refilling and needing a change, to the full moon inspiring an all-night baby party, to being the one who she will always reach for, it is nonstop. As a single mother, we hold more of the weight of the world on our shoulders than most may realize.
Okay, good. And that's just great. So I will say though that it doesn't feel as informed by the tone of the example papers as let me just ask, have you read all of the example papers?
I haven't read all of them, no.
And you can if the first person works for you, that's great. The examples aren't really using the first person. Mm-hmm. And that's what I like about this paper is that it gives students an opportunity to, explore a different voice, that second person. So again, I will accept and applaud the draft that you appear to be kind of evolving. Mm-hmm. Do finish it in time to take it to the writing center and be able to do that. So, but I also would recommend that you take a look at, Tabitha's Supermom, especially. Yeah, she did Supermom as well. I don't know if you're doing Supermom, but she does Supermom, and also the Christmas tree one.
Cool.
Okay. Cool. But yes, you're on the right track.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Carmelyn, do you have a question for me?
I had less of a question, and I was hoping I could get a little bit more feedback about my introduction paragraph. I have a solid first page written because I keep feeling like I'm hitting a wall and like I can't keep going, mostly because the topic that I'm writing about is a high stress topic for me. And so I feel like I have to keep taking breaks and then I don't want to go back to it,
Can I say something?
Oh, Alexandra, yeah. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I was just going to say I was kind of having like the same problem, and I feel like our topics are pretty similar. Yeah. So I wrote out just like a list of all the points I wanted to hit, I guess. And then I just kind of wrote them not necessarily like in the order that I wanted them to be in, and then just like moved it around. I don't know if that'll like help you, but
Yeah,
that's kind of what I did.
And
That's
just
a
so
great
that
idea. Thank you.
and I want to just to the students that could be watching this afterwards, both of these students, Alexandra and Carmelin, are writing about challenging interfamily relationships. That they're both, really they're young and they are trying to express the challenges of difficult families. I think isn't that true for both of you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Ryan seems to have something he wants to contribute.
Yeah. I wanted to say that if you feel like you're hitting a wall, one great thing about these like really emotionally rich topics that you guys are writing on is that like you can describe them in such detail because they're important to you, right? So like think about, I mean, for me, it might not help for you, but think about like the individual parts that you're writing about, and then just think about all the ways that it makes you feel, and write that down maybe, and then think about how you can kind of structure that into your writing. Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense or if it helps, but that's how I like to go about it.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it does. I think my problem is that I hit that point and then I'm like, no, I'm done. I don't want to keep going after this. And I guess I should probably just figure out how to write through that.
Well, did you say that you wanted to read your introduction again with a little bit more feedback? Because I'd love to do that. And by the way, I happen to have some personal contribution that I could make, maybe. But let me listen to it again.
Okay, so I said, there's more to growing up surrounded by alcohol than most people understand. There's more to the lies, abuse, and manipulation from the people that you love. There's more than the lost memories, more than the empty childhood, and more than the trauma as an adult. It takes bravery to be willing to act as an adult from the age of 7. It takes bravery to mentally, emotionally, and physically have to be someone bigger and more mature than you really are. It takes bravery to completely remove yourself from one of your parents and part of your family at 16 because they are never willing to understand how the person that they love so much could be who they are.
Mm-hmm. So just to say one, so you're saying surrounded by alcohol. What you're really talking about is alcoholism, and
right.
I think you know it, and I think that maybe you're not, putting your finger on it because you don't feel like an expert or you don't want to hit, too heavy. But I dare say, since you're writing about alcoholism, you're allowed to use the word if you want to. Okay. All right, just to say that, and I think you have recollections that now again, you're actually asking like, boy, it's hard for me to write about, and I'm saying lean in. I'm saying, get more specific. I think that that your introduction can be general, but you should feel able, like, really look at that emergency room example because it's like boom, 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 boom. Instead of saying, like that she feels traumatized, she says, she gives the specific image of, somebody coming in with a bowl filled with their own sputum. It's gross, sorry, but I mean like. Oh, yeah. What this paper really invites is that kind of attention to detail. If you feel like going there, that might, So, and what I'll ask you here, it's what you want to write about, but one of the things that can really help us focus our writing is who do we want to walk away from our essay with what? I say that frequently, which means who do you believe can be helped if they read this essay, and how will they be helped?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm actually asking.
I know. I got that part. I just wasn't exactly sure, and so I didn't want to answer because I don't totally know. I go into talking about sort of raising my younger sister, and so I think ideally I would like somebody who's experienced what I've experienced to know that it's okay. That it's not, because when I grew up, I was extremely manipulated. Like there was a lot of, it's your fault, you're not doing good enough. And so that was really difficult for me to, overcome. And I would like it if somebody who's in that situation now to understand that it's not really their problem.
I love that, and just to say, and I've probably shared that link with everybody before. I grew up adult. I'm an adult child of an alcoholic. I also happen to be a child, recovering alcoholic myself. I quit drinking in 1998. But the work that you're doing psychically is work that I did in this book called Dog's Days, and where I sort of, talk about. Anyway, I've been there, is what I'm saying. And I know how challenging it can be. I want to sort of underscore Alexandra's suggestion about when the work feels like, oh no, I can't write one more sentence about this. Don't, and just write those lists. You know what I mean? Just write. So the list I'm kind of curious about is how specifically did you have to? How were you forced to act like an adult when you're 7? My 7-year-olds were not like adults.
I did talk about it a little bit more. Like, one sentence that I wrote was, I remember the rumbly stomach, which was less important to me than my sister being full. I remember the Dollar Tree shampoo I had to buy, or the motel we lived in for 2 years because he and his girlfriend bought, and now we didn't have anywhere to live. Like, I did kind of more specifically go into it. I just left it out of the introduction.
You just go. You just write this, and if your purpose here is to burn the house down, don't literally burn a house down. But I'm being figurative. Do not burn anything down. But what I'm saying is that, and we have another student who's not in the room right now, whose purpose was, last time we talked, to let her parent know how awful. Okay, on the same level. Okay, I actually was trying to subtly put you guys together, let you feel comfortable messaging one another, because I think you guys are having the same experience, but the other person's very quiet about this. But today's draft has tempered that impulse that the previous draft had to educate the parent, because that's impossible. I mean, really, how can you do it? So I think that your thought about sort of letting a person know it's not their fault is that's really good. You have a younger sibling. Mm-hmm. Maybe your younger sibling is the audience here. You know what I mean? People, your younger sibling and others that are in that situation.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I don't know if I've helped in this situation because you're writing it,
I hope you did.
Okay, good. I
felt stuck and I didn't know if I wanted to continue writing on the topic, and I do feel better writing about it now. So thank you.
And just to be as vulnerable as you are being, and I welcome this so much. I think this is how we encounter ourselves, how we basically cement, I'm not going through that without getting a degree at the end. I think that when we go all in, and in my, English 101 class with uptight Marmy killer, sorry, I did not have a good experience. No, she gave me a D when I wrote about when I was 5 years old for this narrative, this assignment, the analogous version of it. I wrote about a suicide attempt that my mother made when I was 5 years old. And I was the one, Melanie ran into the room and said, Mom just swallowed a bottle of bills. And the essay talks about the 5-year-old being unable, you pay bills, you don't swallow them, totally, and of course it ends with the paramedics coming in and dragging out my mom to pump her stomach, which was, to be honest, there were so many times later suffering similar alcoholic abuse that I was like, maybe that wasn't the best move. And I hate to say that is dark. That's really dark. But this, all I'm saying is that I want to honor your bravery to write about this. Oh, and remind you, hit the thesaurus. There's 15 different ways to refer to bravery. You know what I mean? So you might want to just hit that. That's all. But yeah, good work.
Sure.
Yeah. Really.
Thank you. And I'm sorry about your mother, and congratulations on being sober. That's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah. Well, it's complicated. Members of my, of the association that I am in, we're not allowed to accept congratulations. It's not me. So just to say, so let's see, what was I going to say? Also, and I hate to be heavy on my mom, who she did evolve as a human being, and I love her, and she lived a long life, and was good sometimes. So no need to feel super down about that. And as weird a video as this is, right now I'm gonna just click stop and say to my online students, yeah, that was weird, but write your paper, and I'm gonna stop this and turn in your paper on time, get to the writing center.